You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, well, happy Monday. It's very...
Mellow?
Wake you up?
Well, no,
up?
it's not a matter of not waking up. I'm in a mood. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad, I guess. It's just I've had a week, and, you know, sometimes it just kind of carries over, and you're trying not to let it. But I realized last week, and I wanted to just kind of vent, as I do on this show, about the people who dismissed me at work this week. You know, at my job. Because, look, I've complained about my job, probably here. And there are times, I know we've had discussions where, you know, I complain, you complain, and we just kind of complain about our jobs.
Each other during the day, yeah. Because
we understand there are similarities in some regards to the things we have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And this week, I got put through the ringer in such a way that it seemed that nobody cared about anything.
Yeah.
Okay. If it had been one person, that's different. Two, okay, you're pushing it. Several, what is going on? Yeah, what is going on here? Because I had at least 3 different problems this week that I had to reach out to other people about. And the response I got initially was, in a nutshell. It's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, but...
And I'm trying to let you know I'm going to make no efforts to find the answer, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much where it began, was that right there. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do. Just dismiss. And this was, the first one was a problem that I've encountered several times this year. You know, we're still in January.
This year?
Yes.
January?
We're still in January, and I've encountered it several times, and I thought, all right, you know what? Nothing's getting done about this, so I'm going to readdress it. And then when I did, it was just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. And when I got that attitude, I was like, okay, but here, we've tried this, we've tried that. And I was trying to explain my side of it. Mm-hmm. And then when I continued to get, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, so you're just going to dismiss what I'm saying? The moment I called them out on it, the defenses came up. Well, I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing that. And it's like, whoa, but you were. Yeah. Because I was telling you my problem that is all of our problem. But if you're not going to help rectify it, then it's going to continue to be a problem. We need to nip it in the bud now.
Right. Before
it becomes a bigger problem. But if you're going to act like it's no big deal, then I can't do anything because clearly you're saying that my job doesn't matter because it does affect my job.
And my time's not valuable.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're saying that my job is invalid and pointless, so, you know, I guess I should just throw my hands up too and just be like, oh, who cares? Then there was another one where, another problem that I had seen, a pattern. Mm-hmm. I'd reached out to a guy through an email and I was like, hey, could you help me with this problem? No response for an entire day. So then I messaged them, like direct message. Hey, did you get my email? Oh, I must have overlooked that. Let me go look at it right now. Didn't get a response. I respond to the email because I didn't quite get a full message or a full answer. So I was like, okay, so maybe when? Could you give me a time frame?
Yeah,
something like that. So I can, because I was having to pass a message along to the person who asked me. So I'm like, there's other people
Why
waiting
didn't
in
that
this.
person just go to them? Why did you have
Well,
to be involved
it's
at all?
The way the structure is. It's
Okay.
there's the people who reach out to me. Then there's something that I have to reach out to them for. It's not a necessary. They wouldn't know to reach out to that person.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
And that's not their.
So that made sense. So
Right.
Okay.
So it was, hey, could you get this, get that? Now I went to ask that question again after I responded to the email that I got, that the half answer. I wanted clarification so then I could pass that along to the other person. Silence. I was like, what is going on here? So then I again, next day, press the person again via a message. Hey, so that email that I responded to was kind of needing an answer. Do you think you could just give me a time frame? Well, clearly this is not a top priority for me, so I'll look at it. Okay. And I was pretty much done with the conversation. So I was like, so you're going to waste my time, which is wasting other people's time.
Well, just send it along. I've been reaching out and I'm not getting a response at this time. How would you like me to proceed forward with figuring out how to get this done?
Yeah.
Like,
because essentially he's now the roadblock. I've done all I can. So I just kind of threw my hands up. I was like, all right, so that's what we're going to do.
because you can find it out yourself and prove how useless this other position is.
Well, I tried, but I feel like that there,
Like, clearly.
I feel like that there are other factors involved because I tried, I really did. And I just wasn't 100% on it. And then when I finally got a response from this guy, it was, apparently there's some other elements involved that I don't know about. And what I found was not accurate. So I was like, okay, well, clearly I just need to wait. Hopefully this will be resolved soon.
No.
And I feel like there was a third, but I don't even want to, I've buried it so far.
Okay.
Because it was just, no, because there were
Okay.
several instances where it was just like, God damn it, man. Why is everybody, so by Friday, I was just so angry at everybody around me because it was just that attitude of, I remember what it was now. I asked somebody for help.
Uh-oh.
I asked a group of
How
people.
dare you?
How dare I? Because I never do. I've been told that I don't work well with others because I don't ask for help. Okay.
I don't work well with others because I don't like to depend on other people doing anything. I just want to do it myself because you're never going to do it. That's how I look at it.
That's one of the reasons I don't ask for help is either it will get done wrong or half-assed. No matter how much I explain it, no matter how much I lay it out as simple as I possibly can, that is my concern, is that they are going to do it in such a way, and maybe this is me being OCD. I have those moments where I'm just like, but you're doing this wrong. Like when someone loads the dishwasher and it's just a garbled mess, I'm just like, this is not how you load it.
All the bowls facing down so none of the water's getting to the top.
It's like there is
unless you have those fancy ones where it comes from both sides.
There's a system, okay? You have to lay everything in there just so.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of the I did not want to ask because there are just other factors involved, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ask some people I thought I could depend on. And I thought, I'll go ask if they could just at least do a little bit. And then when I have free time, I can start picking up part of this and we'll knock it out by the end of the week. That was my goal. I thought this is simple enough. Okay. All you got to do is just click a button and it'll take care of the rest. Simple. No,
Sometimes I think
we're
people
talking
make things harder, so you stop asking them to do things.
downloading several thousand files. Okay, keep that in mind. 10,000. And I needed to get this done because I was trying to help a move. And I just said, if you guys could just knock this out, a little bit at a time, when you get a free moment, just come back, download. I said, we can knock it out, no problem. Day went by and no progress really had been made because I could track everything by a date.
Oh, yeah. They
because
forget everything's timestamp day. Yeah.
once the date is there, you're supposed to. The idea was download it, then delete it from its current spot because we're going to move it elsewhere.
Okay.
And I noticed the date never changed, and I was like, so maybe they're picking a different day. But then even where I went to look at the downloads, nothing. You know, few here, few there, and I was like, so I don't know what they were doing. You know, I didn't know how busy they were, but from a certain perspective, I could kind of see how busy they were.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I know you're not doing anything, you know, at the moment. So I just don't understand why you're not helping me out here. Okay. And then finally, I started doing it myself. And then I go to visit these folk and just be like, hey, how's everything going? They're like, oh, yeah, we downloaded a few. And I was like, really? I was like, huh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I was like, and it's like, but have you been downloading?
So where did they go?
Yeah. Well, they even said, it's like, have you been downloading stuff? I was like, oh, yeah, I got several months worth of files downloaded today. Really? Yeah. It's not hard. Huh. Okay, well, I mean, we'll get on it. No. I did 2 years worth.
Yeah. I think you and I work similarly because I feel I'm very efficient, you know?
Yeah.
But I've learned how to work within my own brain's limitations because I know I will forget stuff very quickly. So I set alarms and reminders and things like that on your Microsoft stuff or whatever. That kind of assists me throughout the day, like at a certain time of day. I'll probably get busy doing something. That time has flown past me without realizing it. So I have timers and stuff to go, hey, you need to check this, or this.
Yeah.
So it blows my mind with someone like me who has all of these different things that I have to do for myself to overcome what someone with a normal brain would do that's still not doing it. That's what I don't understand, where I'm like, do you know how much harder I have to work to meet where you're at
Yeah.
normally? And then you're just not going to do it?
I know. Yeah. No, I don't get it either. And going back to what I said, where I'm pointed at and saying you don't work well with others, you don't like dealing with other people, and you're just antisocial.
That's fair.
It's because of this stuff right here.
Yeah.
All this stuff that I just went through. And then
they're going to say you're hard to work with because they're only going to talk about your response after asking several times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you're missing the entire conversation. I'm trying to get a thing done. I take pride in my work. No matter how stupid the job as a whole may be, I never once will you ever look at my work and say I phoned it in or half-assed it. Because that's not in my brain. I can't do that. It's got to be perfect or damn near perfect. I can't just do it halfway. And yet when I watch people do it halfway, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I can't help it. I don't
want to
be.
I care a little bit more too, and that drives me crazy. And I try to keep it to myself because I understand not everyone's just going to work that way or care that much or, you know.
Yeah.
But after a while, you're like, Jesus Christ, can you just like come a little bit over here? Just a smidge.
Yeah. But I've dealt with it so much with so many people that I've worked with over the years, and and like you said, I have to keep it to myself because I do get it. Everyone is not me, and I am not them. Even training someone, I've had to say, I even tell them up front, I was like, I'm going to tell you how I do it. Now, I don't expect you to do it exactly the way I do it because you are not me. You may have some method that works better for you. This is how I do it. You listen to how I do it, then find your own way. You know, whatever works best for you, because it may not be equal comparisons here. I can't help how my brain works.
Right.
I'm always looking for the faster, more efficient method. Always.
Sure. Yeah.
And
same. I create all templates for myself for things that I know I have to do a million times a day, and I just copy paste stuff, move on.
Yeah.
So it takes me like 2 minutes, and then other things I'll see people hang on to it for like 10, and I'm like, I can't make it sense in my head how this took you 10.
10, yeah.
Unless you put it in progress and then just like walked away.
Right.
And you're not actually doing the thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I feel you, man. I kind of hate having to depend on others. I'm very like self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my most perfect job ever would be just like if I was the one responsible for my shit and then out. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't have to ask for anybody else. Just throw stuff to me that, my position's responsible for. I will get it done.
That's
Then let me move on so I don't have to depend on anyone else. But I don't think you'll ever find a job like that.
no. But for the most part, I have tried to learn how to find things out for myself so I can avoid these conflicts. And you know what? That's not, again, it's not a factor of me not wanting to deal with people. It's having to deal with people, getting this type of response.
Yeah.
And then
I
just
wanna
being
get it
like,
done.
yeah, I'm trying to get my work done and people are in the way. So I'm just trying to avoid this altogether because clearly I can't count on a soul. This is not me trying to be antisocial or difficult. I just have a job to do and I want it done.
Right.
Period.
And I feel like I end up doing more than I'm supposed to just
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can avoid that and move on with my day. Because I'm like, if I don't just figure it out and do it, I'll hang on to this thing for 4 hours waiting for someone to get back to it. Or I could just go in there and mess it with it myself and then apologize later if they're really upset.
And
know?
I've even done that too, where if I get an email or something like that and I don't see it, and then I look at the timestamp on it and it's, a few hours had passed. I'm like, oh shit. So I scramble to get it done and I apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't see this until just now. And they're just like, oh, it's no problem. So even that, it feels like I've done something wrong because I don't like having to wait on people. Therefore, I don't want people to ever have to wait on me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if I've done my part.
I think you and I would be like the best work partners if we ever like work together. Shit would get done.
Mm-hmm. You just realize how awesome that company would be and how efficient they would be.
Right?
100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Learning about myself being in an office atmosphere now, I'm like, you know what? I can rock this shit. You all are very lucky to have me here.
Yeah. You should be grateful.
You should be very grateful. Yeah. Because I've been there almost 3 years now. I see the workflow and where it's going.
Mm-hmm. So anyway,
I feel that bad. I hate having to wait on other people. And it would be nice if they just had like a little bit of a smidge of that same care.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard to make people care about their corporations too these days. I know.
And look,
everyone's doing their quiet quitting or whatever it's called.
I get it.
And then those of us who are like, but damn it, we got to get it done are the ones suffering.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Our brains won't let us just not care about it.
I don't want to. I understand we all have bad days. But the fact that so many people.
3 days is too long.
3 people, 3 separate groups, 3 different things, and everybody had this attitude of just like not caring. I wish I could just let that go sometimes.
Dude, it would be 100% pestering my brain all day, every day.
Oh, it did.
For some reason, my brain will hyper focus on that thing, and now I can't get anything else done. It's almost like I have these little mini panic attacks, and I'm like, really? Will you just stop caring? No one died,
I think it's that idea of not finishing what you started. I have to finish. I have to finish whatever it is, and that to me feels unfulfilled, and therefore I can't let it go. So I'm just always hanging on to that while I'm working on other things. I was like, boy, I wish I could finish this project before I add this other thing onto it as well, because I've still got this one thing to finish.
5 things going. Yeah.
I know sometimes it's easier to quit a game, but sometimes you just have to finish it, especially if you're so close.
Right? And it's like, and this will be done and out of the way, and I won't have to think about it again. But no.
So, I don't know.
To drag on. No.
All right.
I
wanted to run something by you.
Okay.
And this is a hypothetical for everybody listening too. It's actually not hypothetical for me, but I want to know how you'd react, okay? Because understand, I'll just tell the story.
Okay. And we'll see.
So, the other day, this is a few weeks ago, I walk into an establishment, a liquor store, if you will, because I'm not going to hide that I imbibe every now and again.
Have a little drinky drink, yeah.
So I go into this local liquor store that I've gone into since it opened, You know, nothing's ever been weird about it. It's a good establishment, good people, whatever. Walk in, and lady behind the counter is just like, hello. And I'm just like, hello. Go grab my stuff, get to the counter. And as I'm getting ready to check out, I'm getting my money up and whatever. And I just turned my head. Same little girl that said hello. I just kind of turned my head, not realizing what I'm doing. It's just like, head turns. Our eyes lock. And I get a smile. Huge, big grin. And I'm like,
Okay. Yeah, hi. You know.
And I was like, oh, that was interesting. So it just, kind of lifted my spirits a little bit because a good smile could do that. And I just kind of walk out and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Friendly people.
Right.
Weeks later, going again. Same girl at the door. Hello.
Does she work there?
Yes, she works there.
Oh, okay. I was going to be like, there's another concern there.
No.
She's just always there, but okay.
No. Get a hello and a smile on the way in. Hello and a smile. Walk over, get my stuff, go to the counter. As I'm at the counter again, she kind of walks by the cashier. Head turns, lock eyes, smile. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I just, again, walk out with a good feeling, but it was just like, what's going on here? Because
Isn't it shame? We're all like, people are nice and we're like, what's going on?
Well, it seems like it's, I don't want to just assume, but
well, it doesn't look like she's actively going out of her way to just stare at you in the eyes and smile.
The second time, yeah. Because she was on the other side. She was behind me.
The door.
And then it was just like, made your way to where my eyes were and kept on walking.
Maybe she thinks you're cute, just likes to smile at you.
Yeah, now that's what I wanted to talk about. Because since then, I've kind of been nervous to go back in there.
Aw. Take Katrina with you next time. I don't know.
Like, I'm not expecting anything funny to happen or anything like that, but it was just like, now I've got this complex where I'm just like, it makes me feel good, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, I just don't want to give off any kind of wrong vibes or whatever. I appreciate it.
I mean, have you gone out of your way to speak to her, stood at the door after you purchased?
No.
Then I think like you're not leading any impression. I think you're just being a nice customer, smiling back when you're being smiled to. Now, if you were hanging out afterwards and having long conversations or something, then sure,
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going through her brain, but I don't think anything.
But I guess on one hand, where I'm not trying to start that, like I'm not trying to do anything or whatever, there was another part of me that just, it felt good. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't get
We're
that.
humans. If people find us attractive, it's going to bump your day a little bit.
Yeah.
It's normal.
I guess that's what I was kind of wanting to explore for a moment, because it I don't get that very often.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't feel like I get it very often, at least not like that. And I don't know, just like I said, I walk out kind of feeling,
you can look at the menu. You just go home for dinner. That's all. It's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I say take your little, ego bump and just be happy with it. Be like, yeah.
But I hate that I've let it get to me where I'm afraid to go into the store.
Yeah, that might. Well, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Avoid the day she's there or something. I don't know.
I don't
go switch it up. But I mean, if the next time you go in, it just seems super awkward, where she's just like going out of her way to do it. I don't know. I guess. Just do you. Keep smiling and just walk right on out when you're done, you know?
I guess. I hate that I've gotten into my head about it. Now she starts
trying to have long conversations or something with you, and it seems like it's leading that way, then you might have just, hey, thank you.
Sure.
It's very nice and all, but I'm married and, I just was being friendly or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be your fault either way at the end. I don't know.
Well, that seems to be the going rate with most people who like to blame stuff I'm involved in or not involved in. I get blamed.
No. Well, when it comes to people's hurt feelings, they're definitely going to try to figure out a way to make it your fault instead of like just taking it with grace. And I took a shot and it didn't work. Oh, well, and move on. That's usually not the human response.
Yeah.
It's usually, let's tear that other person up. How dare they? to protect our own feelings.
And, to be fair, just saying from a certain perspective, I mean, she's a looker, I mean, she can do better, in my opinion. But, 9 times out of 10, anytime I've ever been encountered with something like that, it's, I guess,
not someone you necessarily find attractive back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
everyone's got their own, what they like.
We've got one at work that I've gotten those from.
Oh.
And I've heard things. I don't want to disparage anybody because I don't know. But
you don't want to dip your pen in the company ink anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you were single, that's just more trouble than it's worth.
Sure. But
unfortunately, I can speak from experience on that one.
Mm-hmm. But no, I got a few of those a time or two, and then I had heard prior to that, and I was just like, don't get any ideas about me. Just. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Smile.
Okay,
and
you could still just be friendly and give off the vibe like I'm being nice, but that's it, and move on.
Yeah, just over there. Say
you can't
I'm
help how
good.
they take it.
So yeah, no, it's just the bump felt good, but now I've gotten into my head, and I hate that because I like the store.
Well, I think just go back in, and I think you'll eventually get over that as well, where you get used to it, and it's just the thing. I mean, is she new?
No, I honestly feel like she's been there since day one. And I could be misremembering this, but again, it's been, I don't know how long it's been, but I'm almost positive the very first time I walked in there, they have like one of those little drive-through windows, which I still feel like is weird for a liquor store. But
yeah. Southern states have more drive-throughs, I've noticed, for liquor than you won't find them up here.
But they have this, she kind of pointed, if it was the same one, and again, I feel like it was, but I could be misremembering, because I've not really been paying attention to people's names and faces.
Sure.
But she was just like, hey, we have this window if you ever want to go around, and it was almost like get out of the store and use the window. That's how it came off to me.
If you want me to like not have to work, you should take the window.
Yeah. So that's how it felt to me. It was just like, just do the window from now on. I'm like, okay. And I didn't know how to take that. So
was it new at the time?
Yeah, it was very new.
Okay.
So
well, then maybe it just came out wrong, and she was like, "Hey, just so you're aware, if you like wanted to not have to come inside, you don't have to." So we could just look at it like that.
Sure.
Like, hey, we got a new thing.
But the problem with that is I like to browse when it comes to liquor. I guess I don't normally have like this idea of what I'm after.
You're in the mood for yet.
Yeah, I just kind of want to look and see what's out, what's new. There's rare occasions where I have this desire for one thing, and I'm like, that's what I'm there for. That's what I'm getting. But even then, I don't think about the window.
Yeah, just go in then. Those are probably for the people who like, I just need a 36 of Coors Light in a can, please, and just
like
pass through the window and be on with your day.
Your order,
Yeah, right. Like, you know what was going on. And this is probably a pickup for the rest of the evening because you've probably already been drinking in the beginning. Yeah. So you think you're being sneaky driving through the drive-thru. No one's going to know.
Give me some of that natty light, baby.
Yeah.
Big old 12-pack. That's going down tonight. I don't understand that either. I don't see how you can... A 6-pack between me and a buddy of mine was...
It gets so full.
Yeah, it's enough.
Like, I never was able to just sit and drink a ton of beer. Maybe about 2 or 3 an evening, like you said, would be about all I could do. Because by then, I'm just full and I'm gassy.
Yeah.
There's like so much in my stomach.
I'd say in my early 20s, me and a buddy of mine, we did have like this tradition. It was like every Friday or Saturday night, we'd get a 12-pack of beers. Wasn't like anything fancy. I think it was like Red Dog or something like that.
Yeah.
And that would be our evening. That and whatever stupid movies or whatever that we were watching, and we would just kick back, relax, watch movies, drink beer, have chit-chats out on the balcony or whatever, and that's that.
Yeah.
And we would go through that entire case. But
we're getting old, Steven.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore.
We have to just face facts.
Like 3 feels like
We've hit that first hump now,
Like 3 feels like a stretch for me anymore, and I don't know why that is. Because once I hit 2, I'm just like, I'm mellow. And then when I get to 3, it's like, all right, now we're kind of getting into some...
Now it might be like where you start listening to pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your head's kind of swimming a little bit. I prefer, honestly, I know we've discussed this, but I'm kind of in the Delta realm. I love that stuff, dude.
It is a nice chill high, and you don't feel gross the next morning.
No, and I feel like I can nod off to sleep easier. Mm-hmm. And I love when the giggles kick in because I just love to laugh. It's like it's releasing so much in my... I got into the giggles last night over... It's always the dumbest shit, or at least it seems like it's the dumbest shit, but I think there's a pattern to it. It's
hilarious in the moment. When you try to explain it sober, you're like, well, this was dumb.
Yeah. Like...
I lost the thread of why it was so funny last night, so...
For me, what I've noticed that has been kind of tickling my funny bone the most is when... I don't want to say anger, but... Say someone says something or something happens and it's like someone's angry, but they say it in just the funniest way.
Right.
Like we were watching a blooper last night and someone was like, are you going to rattle that goddamn stuff all the time? And that erupted, like I just erupted in laughter and could not stop thinking about it. Or there was this other one where a dog got scared by a mule and it took off. And it was just like, it took the fuck off. And that's all it was just the thought of this dog darting away from this other animal. And that, I every time I thought about it, I would start laughing. And it was just,
Why do you think they called you getting dope on dope?
But it...
From our Dare days, you know? Anybody remembers Dare.
But I'm not hurting anybody. You know, I hear people, there's people at work. I've heard people bitching and complaining. Now, granted, I'm not doing what their kids are doing, but I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But all I hear them, these kids are all getting high all the time, and I just don't understand it, blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah, but, if you got high just once, I guarantee you'd mellow out, man. You're mad at them.
People who lose their mind over it are not familiar with it at all. Like they've just heard the boogeyman, like I said, dare tactics and all that crap from the 80s is still in their head.
Right.
And reefer madness and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, it's never been the case.
I mean, I think what they're trying to equate it to is that the people in which they're mad at and calling potheads and whatnot, they don't have any desire to be better people. They'd rather be bums. But I don't.
Person's different.
But I don't feel that it's the effect of the drug. I feel like they were already that person. Now you're just equating that to...
Now, if you're the type that like wake and bakes and smokes all day long, you're probably going to have more or less motivation to do a thing or whatever. But I mean, I mean, personally, I kind of look at it as like, for me, if people have a beer at the end of their day, I'll have a hit at the end of my day.
Yeah.
I'm chill, I'm relaxed, and that's fine. I don't do it all day long. I definitely don't do it while I'm working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know when I want to, and I'm not trying to get blazed. I'll just have like a little tiny hit for pain relief or something, and I'm good. You know?
I take 2 little puffs off the little...
I call myself a functioning pothead. You know?
Now, there's like a moment in the night, probably around 7 or 8, because I know, bedtime's coming up shortly. So I'll take 2 puffs off the little pin, set it down, and then let it just wash over me, and I relax.
Yeah.
And then if I get the giggles in the meantime, cool. If not, it's fine, baby.
Write it out, baby.
I'm just enjoying it, and then I'll make my way to the bedroom and just pass out. And I feel relaxed. It's like...
It's a really great feeling. You're so comfortable. The bed just feels so much more comfortable. The pillow feels so much more colder. Like, everything's great. No, I'm never going to judge you for it, man. That's my... I got the medical card. I sleep like a baby now.
If
I'm
only
not
they
waking
could...
up a million times a night. I still wake up, but I fall back asleep sooner.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it is there for now for me.
I just wish that they would legalize the good stuff here. Because
I just think they need to make it a federal law and call it a day. And then each state, if you really want to be a jerk about it, be a jerk about it. But, you know, I think this whole dancing around with how it's legal in certain states, but federally overall it's not. It's like, it's just this really weird line that I just can't make sense. Because they could totally come bust those dispensaries. And California's had a rough go of it when they were the first ones, or one of the first ones to do it. The DEA would keep busting them up. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, seriously.
What are we doing? But anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure we need to talk
your own.
about video games. So
Probably at some point. Yeah.
What have you been playing?
So this week I have been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. Judge me if you want. I don't care.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I wanted something kind of chill after such a long game.
Sure.
Having played Persona 5 Royal and getting through that. And I wasn't sure if I'd like it, but I wanted just something chill. I didn't want to have to think about too much, nothing stressing for my time. And it was on Game Pass, so I'm like, fine, you know, so I downloaded and played it. And yeah, I've been playing that this week, just kind of building up Dreamlight Valley and making friends with Goofy and Mickey and Donald and Moana and Maui. These are all the people that I have on my valley now that I wouldn't saved. And Scar. He's on my in my valley now. And Remy, the rat from Ratatouille. Yeah. I just saved him, and we're just now starting his quest line to get his restaurant and stuff back up, which I have it running, but we're only at Friendship 2 or 3, so there's more quests. I think you go all the way up to 10. And Merlin.
Nice.
You know, he was the one that like came with the valley, you know, telling us that the forgotten has taken over and we don't know where people have gone and we're forgetting everything. And of course, you're the one that can save us. You know, you have the right power. And so it's like kind of a cleaning simulator with opening new areas. You're like picking up sticks and like harvesting fruit and clearing the night thorns that have taken over everywhere in the valley, you know. But it's like just what I wanted for, you know, chilling in between such a long game. So I think it's adorable. It has its problems. It's definitely early access. Having the same button for all the things has become such a frustration over the last couple of days because talk, you hit E. Pick up, you hit E. Harvest, you hit E. You know, I'm playing on PC. And if I have a friend near me while I'm trying to harvest and like a little squirrel or something that's coming in front of me, like you hit E and then she's moving all around. She doesn't know which thing you're wanting her to do. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I have to like run into the character and push them really far away from what I want them to do. Because thankfully, they're not like a brick. So if I walk into another character, they move, you know? So it's like, push you out of the way so I can get this frickin' raspberry, damn it, you know? And little trouble with camera angles. Sure. Because when you load out of a place, you know, how you get that scare of being like inside their face, you know, and you're just staring at the back of their eyeballs. Or if I get in the forest and there's too many trees around, I can't frickin' see the ground or anything. So I'm having to like look up. So there's a little things that I'd love to see tweaked. I don't know how you fix it. But I mean, obviously not enough to keep me from playing because I played again this morning even before we did this because I can catch shrimp better in the morning. Woo!
So it's like,
so I can make bouillabaisse.
So it's
5-star recipe, damn it.
Kind of like Animal Crossing in a sense.
I think so. Maybe that would be probably pretty close to describing it because you have one area and then as I can clear the thorns and, you know, my dream light, I think is what they call it, you know, for just doing daily quests. Yeah. That'll pop up and you capture this dream light. And then once you have so much, you can clear or open up another area that was overtaken by thorns. So yes. So once you've gotten enough of those and then you'll go there, there'll be new fruits, new vegetables, new different kinds of crafting materials. And then, yeah, each island or area has a new character that you're saving from the Disney Rolodex. I don't know how many characters are in it yet. So far, it seems like almost all of them, but you got to remember there's a lot. Oh, I forgot. I did get Ariel and Ursula too. And I think I keep forgetting about Ariel's because I can't get her to a point where I have a quest with her yet. So I just keep giving her something shiny each day to bump it a little bit until we're friends enough to start getting her quest line. Because Duh, she likes shiny stuff, right?
Duh.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Anyway, but yeah, she wanted like fish. And I'm like, really? You're like around a lot of fish was my only point. I just don't know why that would be your gift of the day.
Right.
But sure. They do change them up like each day. You can give them whatever you want as a gift, but there's 3 specific ones that might be what they're really would bump your friendship with them for that day. So one of hers was like a salmon one day. I'm like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
You're
think
in the ocean.
Be after thingamabobs and whatchamadoodles.
Right. Anything shiny. I mean, I'm able to harvest sapphire, garnet, and rubies, and, all of these shiny things. And you're asking me for fish? You're in the ocean.
I don't think they thought that through.
No, but it is what it is. So I gave her whatever she wanted if it was in my pocket. And then I did try Persona 3 Portable for a moment. I started it up. I think I maybe played an hour or so, and that's when I knew I needed a longer break from the Persona thing. So I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to really dive in yet for another 100-hour game.
Sure.
I know it's not going to be as long as Royal, but still. And I only have one thing so far that I kind of complain about it just because I'm not comfortable with it and I didn't expect this. But in the other personas that I've played, there's always something, where you go into the dungeon, your persona is what comes out, and that's what you're really using to fight with is your persona's powers. But the way my main character summons their persona is kind of bothersome to me. And I don't know if this will be a trigger warning, so I'll put that out there now. But he literally shoots himself in the head. And then his persona comes out. And I was like, maybe that was the first time, sequence when you first learned about your persona. No, it's every time. And I'm honestly not a fan of having to watch that every single time I want to use my persona. So I think that also coupled with being off of a long game, I'm like, I think maybe I want a little more distance. This was so weird to me.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a weird choice decision. Not that it offended me or anything like that. I'm just like, I don't know how comfortable I'm watching because they're all high school kids, mind you.
Yeah.
I don't know that any Persona game is older than high school age. But I've not had the ability to play them all. They've just started recently coming to PC. So I played Persona 5, some of 5, played all of Royal, played all of 4 Golden. They were all in high school. This one's also the same. So I don't know. It's just this high school student having to go into another room to basically kill themselves to get their persona. I don't know. Just something about that whole thing. I was just like, I don't know if I want to watch this every single time. So I'm hoping maybe if I get a new Persona that animation won't be the same one. Or the story's just going to have to be good to get me past that. I didn't think I'd find something like that would just bother me so much, but for some reason it just did. Watching it.
It's understandable.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting that. But that is it.
Okay.
That was it. I dedicated my time to Disney this week. It was a nice, clean, or cleansing palette, How about you?
Well, I'm still working on Death Stranding, and I thought I was going to be a little farther along than I was. Let me tell you what, going back to the work thing that we were talking about, okay?
Yeah.
So I have tried, I think since the last time we spoke. Of course, I don't remember how much I'd played. I feel like I played a good bit. I set up a very intricate zip line system to try and connect a lot of this mountainous area. So that if I needed to go from here to here to here to here, I might not be able to take as much with me as I'd like, but maybe I could take it down in groups. And then if I needed to deliver this massive amount to one section or to a spot a little farther out.
Or if you accidentally kill someone, you can...
Or something like that. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I had this system to get to certain areas faster where I didn't have to worry about climbing the mountain.
Okay, yeah.
Because climbing the mountain is just... No. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I had this all set up and thought, okay, great. Now... From where I stopped playing last to when I picked up yesterday, I had several orders in my hands. I had my truck, and I had to kind of figure out where I needed to go. So I was looking at my orders. I was like, okay, so I need to go here, 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 and then I'll pick up stuff along the way, and then it'll be great. And then when
Yeah.
I'm done with all these deliveries, then I can go back to whoever's going to give me my main mission to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Felt like it'd be no time at all. No time at all. It took me 4 hours to get to the mission to move forward in the story.
Oh, God, no.
Because I kept moving here, driving there, taking care of this, and then of course something would come along the way, and I was trying to take care of that, and just all this stuff. And then I looked at the time and said, what happened? It's like, this is supposed to be just deliveries and then back to it, and this taking 4 hours.
Yeah.
My mind was blown by it. But again, this is back to what we said, this need to take care of all these things at once. And
Before you do with it, yeah.
Yeah. And there were so many that I actually avoided because I would look at some of the mission or some of the orders that were needed to be fulfilled. And I was like, I don't have time for that right now. Because based on where I was just like, I can't do that because you're requiring me to go outside of where I'm heading, and I can't do that, so I'll come back. There's a lot of I've got to come back, but it was just like, damn it, and I couldn't believe that it took that long. So finally, when I did progress forward in the story ever so slightly, oh man, I did something terrible.
Oh no.
And it was an accident, but I didn't expect that to happen. So here's what happened. I got my next mission, and they said, hey, so we need you to go to this facility. You're going to meet up with some guy and then get them onto the network, and that'll be great. And I was like, okay, I can do that. But I had to deliver an antimatter bomb. So you got to be very careful. And I was like, I can be careful. Now, you probably think you know where I'm going with this.
Famous last words. I could be careful.
Okay. I'm sure everyone thinks you know where this is going, but you're not going to believe what happened. So, luckily, there was already some zip lines kind of set in motion to help me up the mountain.
Okay.
So, I took the zip lines up as far as I could. For some reason, the people who built these zip lines are half-assers because they half-assed it to one point, and I looked farther out into the distance.
Well, maybe they missed the email.
I guess. Because I looked out into the distance. Everything is still on the network. And I'm just like, why didn't you continue the zip line? Because you could have built one clearly over there across this wide field. And I could have just zip lined over there, and I'd be so much closer to where I need to be right now. But you didn't.
No.
So now I have to walk through this field, which, as you would know it, is surrounded by BTs. So I was like, all right, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. So I started making my way through this open field full of BTs, and then I'd get the notification here, and I'd scoot, and then I'd just keep weaving and weaving and weaving. And then finally I got to this one spot, and I could see a new type of BT. Now, they have not talked to me in great detail about these, but they look like they're on fire. Or like have embers blowing off of them. And the only thing that I know of them so far is that my weapons do not affect them. Or at least this is what they've told me. So I was like, okay. So I don't know what to do with those. So I just avoid them. Just avoid them like the plague.
Okay. Yeah.
And I saw one BT that was not that type. And I kind of was trying to get past it, but I was in this awkward position where I didn't know which way to go because I felt like I was going to run into the other one. And I have this one special feature where you can cut their umbilical cords, weird as that may sound, and that gets rid of them. So this one that was in the way, I was like, I'll just sneak around it, clip it, and then that'll open up my path. Well, apparently I spooked it, and it came after me. So I started booking it. But then I ran into the other one, and I was like, oh, shit. So then I turned, and I was trying to book it away from that one. Well,
you're just aggroing everything.
I'm in snow, so I'm not running. Normally, I'm running like this, stomping through the snow. Then I start climbing rocks to try and get away from these things.
Now, do you have boxes on your back also at this point?
Well, I have the bomb.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the antimatter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'm just doing everything I can to get away from them as fast as I possibly can. I'm stuck because, again, there are BTs everywhere. And I'm just trying to find the fastest possible route to get away and run. And the snow's not helping. The rocks are not helping. Suddenly, it grabs me. And I go for a ride.
Of course, yeah.
And then what they practically do is when they grab you, they drag you around and then they just stomp you. And then they come out as some whale or whatever the fuck. And then they attack you. So then I'm loading up my grenades and I'm chucking. And I'm chucking. I'm like, I'm going to beat you. I had one hit left. And I continue to run into this problem with this game that bugs the shit out of me. And I do not understand why this continues to happen. And I had ammo, so don't at me saying, well, maybe you just ran out of ammo. I was paying attention. For some reason, after I throw a few grenades, I'm holding the buttons in which to do the thing, and he will not react. It's as if the buttons are not working, and I'm like, I am pressing the button. This was working 2 seconds ago, and now
Something about being trapped in the animation, you think? Or...
I don't know. But it's happened to me several times where I'm just like, fucking throw the shit. And it's just like, no. Like I don't have anything on me. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it. I see how many I've got left. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So because of that delay, this thing jumps at me, grabs me, and kills me. Now.
After all of that.
I have died before. In fact, last week, I think that was the story I meant to tell you. I was trying to develop a zipline system down a mountain.
Uh-huh.
I fell down that mountain twice and died trying to make this
Sounds
fucking...
like the zip lines are your demise.
You're starting to think so, yeah. So, anyway, after I died, I swam around in the beach or whatever, and then I revived myself, and I dusted myself off. Luckily, the bomb was intact, but you wouldn't know it because when I turned around, there's a giant crater in the ground where I died. And I'm like, holy shit. I have not seen that before.
So you even explode, huh?
I guess. But it was just like this big freaking crater in this wide open field. And I was like, oh shit. Oh damn. And then I just turned around and said, well, I guess I'm leaving now.
Right.
But I don't know if that's ever going to go away or if that's permanent.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So I hate that happened, but I'm a little fascinated by it as well.
Yeah. I would almost want to keep checking on it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'll have to come back around it. Luckily, the zipline system that I'd started to build to avoid this very thing, it was still intact, so it didn't hurt the one that I built.
Uh-huh.
So, and I could I should be able to take another and take it across the gap. So, if it's going to be there permanently, I should be able to build something that's just going to negate it altogether.
That's interesting if you can actually do permanent damage to the landscape like that.
I've been curious about it, and this is the first instance I've seen of it, and...
But the other ones, when they explode, is that permanent to the environment also? Or have you always just been successful getting it to incinerator, so we're not sure?
Now, as far as bodies, I've not had any bodies explode on me, and this is the first time that a BT took me down. Okay. So that's, I think, what led to all this. Now, like I said, I've died and come back, but never like this. So
yeah, keep an eye on it. Now I'm curious.
I am too. So, and I don't want to look into it. You know, I'm curious for my own.
Yeah, discovered on your own. Yeah,
but
we're allowed to learn things on our own. We're allowed surprises.
Another thing I'll recommend is even if you don't play the game, I would recommend going on Reddit and seeing the Death Stranding Reddit threads because you got people on there sometimes that have been cracking me up. Where?
Oh, you know what? I love Reddit. Sometimes it's just like one long troll conversation and I'll laugh my butt off. There's some creative motherfuckers out there that just respond to shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Yeah.
Well, I got an email. I don't even remember, I guess, because, phones are listening and whatnot. And I get this email from Reddit and it was directing me toward the Death Stranding thread. And there was a bridge built not over a lake or a creek or anything, just a bridge.
Like
not,
on the ground?
Yeah, just not connecting really anything. And
Okay.
the guy was just like, who in the hell made this? And it was just a very valid question. I'm like, yeah, why, what, who is this for?
Maybe it's to another futuristic climate change thing.
Maybe.
Like how it used to be a bridge connecting two things, but I don't know. Flooding, regrounding, earthquakes, who knows? Raised the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, in some Kojima, strange fashion and how he writes his stories.
But that's the other thing I've seen where you have to deal with other people building stuff is I see certain structures built sometimes and I'm confused by it too. Like there's this.
Is it other players able
Yes.
to do that
Mm-hmm.
in your game?
Yeah. So it's all part of the Death Stranding connection. So you may not particularly be playing on the server I am, but you do have like a group of people that you're on the same server for. So if you are connected, like when you get a facility connected to the network, everything that other players have done within that group of the network, their stuff will then show. Yeah. So you're not going to see it prior to that. So if you had been working on trying to build something off the network, somebody else may have already done it. So then when you connect, their structures, their bridges, their ladders, whatever, are then shown to you, and then you can utilize them. You understand?
Yeah. I'm just trying to debate whether I like that feature or not.
I do. I honestly, because before you get on the network, it's already a struggle. Okay, so if they tell you, hey, you've got to go find this person, you don't know where you're going. The map is just kind of foreign to you because you have nothing to really go off of. Mm-hmm. And granted, if you build a bunch of structures, then their structures on top of that could overlap and it could be, a little bit useless, which I get. Mm-hmm. But once you find it and then all that stuff kind of comes into your purview, sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's not. There are times I've seen like a little bridge and I'm like, what is this doing here? I don't understand. So I've removed them. Now you can remove them for yourself. They won't remove them for the other players. But if I feel like whatever this thing is not benefiting me at all and it's just in the way, I will remove it.
Maybe it was just a troll.
It could be. Or maybe they just needed to build one for a trophy or something like that. And it was like, here's,
maybe.
There you go.
I got this stuff. I'm just going to do it right here. Yeah.
So, I mean, even like right now, I've built all the highways or I've helped with the highways. And I'm glad that there are other people who are doing it too. But you have to maintain that stuff. So you have to feed, certain elements into it to keep it up so it's not falling apart. The government doesn't do infrastructure, but I do. And
there you go. Do you get the taxes?
No, unfortunately I don't. I just have to give away stuff. But I try to keep up with it. And it's, I like it. And I like when you see all these other structures because sometimes their structures are exactly what you needed. So you look at it and be like, that is so perfect because I can just use that and it's a shortcut and it saves me so much time. So thank you. And then you come across those others like, what is this doing here?
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're up to. I don't know why you did this. Sometimes you'll even see half structures like they went to build a bridge and then just gave up.
Or can they run out of materials?
Yeah, I mean, you can. But when you see a bridge next to a facility, you just sit there and think, well, you could have just ran up here, got the materials, and come back. And yet you've left it here untouched, unfinished. What are you doing? Why are you even building
another shiny and forgot that they were even doing that thing?
Or even when you sit there and think, why are you building another bridge here when clearly you see there are plenty of bridges and you're building yet another one here? Why? Was that one not good enough for you? Was it too far back?
Yeah.
I don't get it. So, yeah, it's could be something maybe I'm not thinking about, but when you see those structures that are just what
random,
are you doing?
It feels random, yeah.
You'll see a ramp, and again, I'm sure that there are just knuckleheads out there thinking this is great.
Uh-huh.
But you'll see a ramp at the top of a mountain, and I'm like, I'm not jumping off of that. I'm not stupid.
Not going to do the Assassin's Creed swan dive?
No. So if you want to have at it, you are more than welcome to, but That is dumb, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, maybe they've already beaten it and they're just screwing around.
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what do you got in the way of news?
We got a little bit. It wasn't a jam-packed week, but you and I find stuff to talk about. I don't know. So I guess the only really big thing that I saw coming across this week is that the whole NetEase Blizzard deal just never quite got it figured out. And as of the 23rd, dark in China as far as Blizzard games go. World of Warcraft, Overwatch 2, Diablo. Looks like Diablo Immortal is fine because it's distributed through a different publishing company than NetEase. So that's like a huge market to just lose and to go dark on, where if you were playing these games for however long, it looks like that they've figured out or are trying to figure out how to keep your save files if you are in those areas so that you can hopefully pick up where you left off when they find another publisher. And then just in case you weren't aware, because I had to do some digging a little bit to try to understand why this was such a big deal. But like the CCP kind of demands that you have a Chinese publisher when you're publishing games to the Chinese market. So Blizzard needs one of those to distribute their games by that country's laws. So it seemed like that they were kind of going back and forth a good bit there. I kind of vaguely remember, I think it was November-ish last year, towards the end of the year, where Blizzard came out like, hey, we've not reached an agreement, and was kind of saying that NetEase wasn't putting anything forward that they thought would benefit their own players, and, kind of trying to lay it at their door. And then NetEase is kind of is accusing Blizzard of seeking a divorce but wanting to stay together kind of situation, because it did seem in there that Blizzard was asking if they could extend their contract on the current terms for another 6 months while they were looking for another publisher. And I don't know that you can articulate it that way with anybody giving you money and they'll be like, okay, like, sure, we'll just keep doing this thing for you whilst we know you're looking for somewhere else, Right. I couldn't find the exact sticking point that seemed to really cause this, because they've been working together since 2008. And as you're kind of reading through, it kind of seems that Blizzard was what kind of gave NetEase their start in the beginning to really take off, But as you kind of go through the story, it kind of gets a little petty too, because the people at the NetEase offices are live streaming, taking apart like Blizzard structures that would be around the offices there in China, and live stream or like putting up pictures of bashing their company. There was one where they put out a PR move with a green tea. Now, I didn't understand, it's cultural things, which apparently is kind of slang for some bad stuff. So it seems like NetEase is just constantly poking back at Blizzard too. And it turned into just kind of this messy online dispute where they're both kind of looking petty. I don't know. But so as of the 23rd, if you're in that area, you no longer have access to these games until Blizzard can find a licensing agreement with a different Chinese publisher. I don't know how hard that is. I mean, and with how many laws they've been passing with kids not being able to play games past a certain time of day, and just seems like it's a really tough country to be a gamer in.
Yeah. And
and it's such a wide audience. You know what I mean? Like, does Blizzard feel really good about standing for China now?
No. I mean,
do they feel good about it now? Because it seems like you're getting ditched. But I just wanted to find what was the exact thing that all of a sudden started this argument, and how long had it been going on? What is the exact sticking point? I mean, obviously I default to 'cause money. Someone's probably feeling screwed somewhere 'cause money.
Well, yeah.
but I couldn't find an exact thing. Now, siblings, if I'm overlooking it, please point me in the direction. I felt like I was reading through stuff from like years ago up until, today or the other day when I saw that, or the 23rd, I guess, the day that I saw like, we're done. We're cutting everything down. We're no longer providing these servers. So I'm sorry if you're over there. This is rough. Like, I don't know how I'd feel if my favorite video game that I've been attached to for 20 years was just all of a sudden my country's like, no. And you've taken it from me, you know, my poor little brain that needs my instant gratification. It's like, what are you doing to me? Like, this is a problem. I guess NetEase maybe got too big for its britches because it looks like it's finally started accelerating its own development capability. So now their in-house development is around 60% of their revenue. So I guess they just don't need them. I don't know. But they're not doing it, man. They're not doing it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well,
this is crazy.
As we've talked about before, China's that market that everybody seems to want, and then to let it just slip through your fingers. I mean, how many times do we hear that shit from Hollywood where they have to make concessions just to get a movie into China? Or can't say this, you can't do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. No. I mean, if you've got to compromise your film or anything for somebody else, same with this. I mean, you've got to, no, hell with that.
Yeah.
But
it's such a huge market is why they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's billions of people. You know what I mean?
Like, I get it, yeah.
They have more than we even do population-wise in the States, So, like, I get from a business standpoint why you went into that market. It just, my God, all the things you've got to do. Just, ugh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I guess we'll just wait and see. It looks like at this point, unless NetEase comes around somehow with me looking at their little petty posts and stuff, seems to tell me they're done. They're good here. They want to make sure they're pissing them off super good, I don't know when you'll get to play your WoW over there or any of that stuff,
So tell me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm equating it to something else that sounds very familiar, but wasn't NetEase a search engine browser or something?
You know what? I was kind of wondering, like, that name.
It does sound like a browser.
Like back in the day.
Yeah.
What was it?
Like, I felt like it was, like its icon was a little, what do you call it? Oh, you see it on a ship and you turn the ship with the wheel and the thing and...
Oh! Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to think of it.
I'm Dava, help.
Yes, Dava. Dava was NetEase. Like, I'm looking at the Googles. I'm not seeing anything about that.
Well,
so we're probably very close on a name that's triggering a memory, but probably not quite it.
It's that Mandela effect.
Yes. And of course, the first thing that pops up is from December of 22 that Riot Games is suing NetEase.
I know what I'm thinking.
Infringing the copyright of their popular Valorant esports title. Okay, I don't know anything about that, so there you go. But I didn't do any search on that, so I don't know.
Maybe Netscape? Is that what I'm thinking
I bet
of?
you it is. I bet you it's Netscape.
Maybe that's what it is, yeah.
I think you're right there, yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew it was net something.
Right? we were close. So there we go. We'll see what happens. Poor kids in video games. I guess you'll just have to go do other things. I don't know. Especially if you're only allowed to play like an hour on Friday anyway. And now you probably don't even have it. Moving on. I know we were kind of discussing about the new Tomb Raider, and then we were having conversations about what we were hoping would be coming out of it. Looks like Amazon kind of confirmed that it is a continuation of the Lara Croft story, so it won't be remaking the originals or any of that kind of stuff that I know we were kind of discussing. Like, you know what? Maybe. It's far enough removed at this point, but it will be a single player narrative driven adventure continuing Laura's story. So I thought I would just mention that because I know we were kind of having debates back and forth of what they were doing with the new Tomb Raider. And then I also read that they're not going to do any of that exclusivity like they tried to do before because it really hurt their sales. And in my head, I'm going, well, duh. Like, I don't know what big blockbuster hit you thought this was going to be, but I waited until it came to my platform. So there you go. So they learned a lesson at least there. Like, just release the damn game. People are more beholden to their platform than they are to your freaking game.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I think I read that headline this morning. And when I read it, I thought, are they making another movie? Because it said Amazon. I was not equating games. And I was like, why are they making a movie?
Yeah.
And now I'm even more confused.
Yeah, Amazon Games, because they're the ones who acquired the publishing rights for the new Tomb Raider. So, yeah. We'll see what's coming out of that. Freaking Amazons and everything, too.
Now, since you mentioned Amazon, I did have like one little nugget, one little bit of news, if you will, that it's related to Amazon. So if you have this, I'm just going to take it from you. But maybe not. Amazon is apparently offering ex-Stadia users 2 free months of Luna if they come on over. You just be like, hey,
to
I know
snipe them?
Yeah,
Snipe the Google people?
If you're just like, hey, I noticed you lost your platform, well, you can come right on over here and play on ours.
Devious and smart.
Very smart. So if by chance you had Stadia and you want some Luna, I personally could not partake because I've already had Luna. But if you've never had Luna and you had Stadia, I recommend it. Go give it a peek.
Yeah, I mean, if they're offering it to you for a month or so for free or something, check it out. Yeah,
2 free months, why not? Go for it.
Yeah, why not? I would check it out if I was getting it for free for sure. That's the reason why I checked in on Stadia when they gave me a month free, and then I could play the Tequila Works game I wanted to play, which now, thankfully, we're hearing is getting worked on to move to other platforms so the game can still live on. So I love it.
Yep.
Microsoft, or not, well, Xbox, I guess, rather, had a developer direct. Admittedly, as I was flipping through, I didn't really see any big blockbuster things to chat about or anything, like there was some more Minecraft coming. But the one thing I thought was cool, and I would love for developers to take just extra note of this. I don't know if you watched the trailer for Hi-Fi Rush that dropped then. It's it looks like it's a cartoonish rhythm-based fighting game. Kind of drawn in that cell shader comic book style. Regardless, first time we saw the trailer, at the end they were like, yeah, by the way, go play it today. That is what you do. I didn't have to think about this game for 4 years and delays. And what was even better, it was made from Tango DreamWorks, which, by the way, they added this in the trailer, which I thought was a nice touch, from the makers of The Evil Within.
Oh,
no,
nice.
Seriously. I thought that was a very nice touch that they put it in there because I was like, you know what? This is such a different game. So different than The Evil Within. And it came to Game Pass that day too. So I'm feeling like later on today I might download it and give it a shot and see. But I just thought that was a really cool way to do it. And like Bethesda used to be great about that, where you might have heard about it for 6 months before its release. And that was great. But to just work on it, we had no clue. Did you have internal problems? Did you have to delay it? I have no idea. But now it's here.
I do
Let's
remember.
do this, people. Let's do that.
I do remember seeing, I think I saw the trailer on YouTube, but I didn't watch it. And
okay.
I guess I'm going to have to, because now that you've described it, I'm curious.
It looks like it might be kind of fun, I don't know how long it would captivate my attention being a fighting game like that, but with all of the other elements that were added to it, something about it tells me I might have a good time with it for a little bit. Because I did like, there was, I'm horrible at remembering names of anything, but there was one game that I played on Switch for a little while too, where it was kind of a dungeon crawler and it was a rhythm-based game where I had to, I think I showed it to you when we were in Ohio, where you had to hop according to the beat and keep moving through and make the fighting with the beat. And I got like stupid into that for a while too. So that's why something tells me I could probably be addicted to this for a little bit of time. Longevity would just have to depend on me sitting down and playing it and it actually tickling all the right things for my brain. But it was unique enough from a developing team that I really wouldn't have expected something this kind of cutesy look. I don't want to call it cutesy, but it's definitely a cartoonish style. And then to just drop it the same day they announced it, love it.
Just looking at, I'm not watching it specifically, I'm just kind of looking at some of the pictures and I could.
They look fun.
I
And then you
like
should listen
that.
to it with the music and stuff too, because how dependent it was on the beat and stuff was kind of interesting to me also. I just really liked the fact that I'm like, ooh, and I can play now. Love it. They did do a little bit more on the Arcane Studios Redfall. I've been watching it. It kind of seems like a cool concept. I think for me, just being multiplayer, how I kind of take a step back and like, is it cooperative? Can I just play with friends? Do I have to play against people? Kind of thing. But May 2nd. We'll see if it gets delayed. I don't know. I just assume everything's going to get delayed these days because Jesus Christ, everything's delayed these days.
Of course.
No, nobody can just stop throwing out a schedule. And then there was an update for Elder Scrolls Online too that they announced that they'll be putting to the game in June called Necrom. So another, a new chapter going into the Elder Scrolls Online. So if you are playing that, everybody loves new stuff. Everybody loves new stuff. And then, of course, we all have to ooh and ah at racing games graphics because for whatever reason, they've just got the edge on everyone when it comes to that.
They really do. I mean,
man.
I'm not the audience for it, but you cannot deny how awesome they look.
I drool at the trailers. I really do. I'm not a racing game fan either, but I'll watch those trailers because, man, it really is great how they get the reflections and all. It is kind of crazy how they're the leading. I feel like the leading edge on graphics has always been out of racing games.
But,
maybe over the last 5 or 6 years, maybe, for sure.
To be fair, there's not a lot to a racing game, so I guess you can put as many resources at your disposal.
Just take your time, make them all pretty. Yeah.
But still, it shows what the consoles or the games are capable of being able to look like if, the time and care is put into it.
Yeah.
And stop me if I'm wrong, anybody who knows better, but I don't ever remember hearing that a racing game was broken, Yeah,
like game-breaking bugs. Only with the one that I heard it wasn't a bug. It was just, the company being stupid wanting to charge you $40 extra for a car.
Yeah, kiss my ass.
They'll do that nonsense with microtransactions. But yeah, I don't really hear about I wasn't able to beat this track. But I may not follow the people who play them either, to be fair. So I might just miss all of the griping because I'm not actively in that community, But I didn't really have much else because this week seemed to be mostly that Blizzard was the bigger stuff that I had seen that had come out. And then Neil Druckmann did an interview, but finally just kind of saying hey, we're not working on Uncharted.
Okay.
Kind of didn't think so, but it seemed like he had to come out and be yeah, we've put it to bed. We've put it to rest. I mean, they're probably moving on with more Last of Us or something anyway. Another storyline maybe for that. Or a new game.
A new game? Are you? Come on. What is a new game?
Fantasy world. I know. I'm living in a fantasy world.
I mean, look, I would love to see more Nathan Drake, but I can also accept that his story is done.
Right. I feel like they wrapped it up well. We had four games with him. They proved they can do an Uncharted game without him also. I mean, we had the one with what's her name that I'm never going to remember right now, but and from what I could tell, that seemed to do well. And it didn't even end up being a fully priced game. It was a little bit of a shorter experience than the Nathan Drake Uncharted, if we're wanting to differentiate between them. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, all those, they're kind of in the same vein. Yeah. So I guess I haven't felt like I'm starved for that kind of gameplay because I can find it. I liked the games. I just was never obsessed with them. So maybe that's my difference. They were fun for my one time through. Good story, lots of action, tomfoolery, nonsense, and they're, good camaraderie and good, back and forth with the characters. And it was good.
They're fairly breezy if you think about it. Like if you're not actually going through and trying to collect all the missing artifacts, you can play through it in a short amount of time. I mean, 6 to 8 hours, maybe. And I feel like I'm being generous with that too. Maybe like the last game, you get into the 8 hour mark.
Yeah, you might be right. Like I watched the last one. I didn't play it, so like the hubs played it, and I just sat in there and watched it like I was playing it or something.
But they're like interactive movies, yeah. So
I would sit there just with my snack, and I was good to go. You know, like
it's a lot of fun.
A fun story, yeah. We used to do that a lot. We don't do it nearly as much anymore, but he used to always play games, and I would just sit there and watch the stories. He'd play like story heavy games for me, and it was a good time.
No, yeah.
Sometimes we'd both chime in on how to choose, so it was kind of like we were playing together. But then outside of that, I don't have nothing else. What about you? Anything I missed you wanted to chat about?
What about that $2,000 game on Steam? Did we want to talk about that?
I'll be honest. I hemmed and hawed about it because, and I'll just say it like this, outrage culture helps them find their audience. So I always kind of hem and haw about talking about these things where I can clearly see that it was to try to generate some sort of outrage or something. I know our siblings are smarter than that.
Sure.
But like I kind of liken it to, remember that maybe it was a couple years ago now that there was this one very controversial game that dropped. And I had no freaking idea about it until I saw all of my streamer friends tweeting about avoiding this game and how terrible it is. And oh my God. And then they went to the Steam page and then Steam banned it. But all they did was find their audience for all of those people to go to the website to buy this game directly from there. So I felt like because and we've done this since the beginning of time.
Sure.
People get pissy, why do you think rock and roll made it so big? Christians are like, oh, rock and roll. And we're like, screw you, we're listening to Kiss. Like it always just backfires. So I always kind of hem and haw about feeding into that machine. Because it's like, I realize that if we weren't being outraged about it and talking about it, nobody probably would have ever frickin' knew it existed. And they're banking on you doing that to find its audience,
Sure.
But yeah. Who in their right mind is going to charge $2,000 for a video game anyway? That's more than all of the consoles combined. But yeah, some dude, the hidden and the unknown. Thank you, Jad, for bringing this up. Because I had no clue it existed until I saw it in the Discord. And then my brain was like, what? And I couldn't let it go until I looked into what the heck this even was. Because who the hell is going to put a $2,000 price tag on their game? But yeah, so it's just a visual novel. There's no character sprites. It's all dialogue. It to what I can tell is just a bunch of men's rights nonsense, like men now in the West are all feminine and dainty and can't do a thing, so all of us women had to become more masculine and take it's like that kind of garbage. Like I feel like it's just the men's right activism, which I'm not going to deny you that I'm sure there's situations where you're also like knocked down because of that or whatever, but like to the extent this guy is trying to make it sound like our population's just going to fall off because all of our dudes can no longer participate in like mating or whatever. It's just so stupid. But yeah, $2,000. No real graphics. It looks like that old AI art from even a couple of years ago. So I don't know that they even put anything into it. What's here?
Yeah.
What's here? There's no real substance. There's no gameplay. And I think they said it's less than 2 hours. So I guess if you want to be without your $2,000 for a few days just to look at it, beat it, and refund it, then by all means. And if you think buying this game's going to own someone, joke's on you. I'll sleep just fine with my $2,000 in my pocket. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like this was just to piss people off, right?
Clearly.
To start this whatever dialogue that he's got in his head for how the world is right now.
I don't want to go deep down this rabbit hole, but I did want to touch on this since you brought it up. AI art. Okay? I don't want to say too much because I feel like this could go on for much longer than it needs to, but I have seen, and I don't know why this is starting to happen, but getting on my YouTube feed or just recommended videos, because I watched one, and now they're everywhere.
Now your algorithm's effed. Yeah.
Somebody did Family Guy in AI, and they said Family Guy is an 80s sitcom. And so they show you all these realistic versions of Family Guy characters, but generated through AI.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And someone edited it together using like the Family Matters theme song. But then after that, I saw tons of them. So then it would be The Simpsons. Same setup, same everything. Same music, and then there was another one
with a lot of like Disney characters too. Like they just kept going through the real version of what all these people would look like. Yeah,
and it's been flooding my recommended because it's like, what if Super Mario Brothers was a dark 80s fantasy? It's like I don't.
What if it was?
What if? I don't know, and then none of it looks like.
Is it like Uncanny Valley? It's too much.
Or it's kinda. Just you look at it and you're like, well, I don't really see. Like, for example, there was one for Futurama, and Leela had 2 eyes, and it was like, but she's a Cyclops, so your AI failed.
Right?
You know?
Do they know what Cyclops is? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it was interesting for a moment, and then it was just, like, overwhelming. Like, it was like, hey, we got another one. It's like, I'm good. I don't need to see anymore.
Right? It's like, I get it now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I remember flipping through one of those that had like a bunch of different ones, but I think it was one of those stupid like Twitter promoted tweets or something. And I'll always check the comments first because there's always somebody who's very kind and just posts what you want to see in the comments, so you don't have to flip through the whole garbage that is the website that they post up. So I'll just go through that. Yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating, but I could. I'm done with it.
No, that's fair. But yeah, so developed by Pro X Team, the Hidden Unknown, latest indie Steam game to, I don't know, be
Ruffle
on
feathers.
there. To ruffle feathers. I'm just like, I mean, I guess Steam would be like, well, if you really want to give me 30% of that price tag, then sure. You know, 'cause, like, why would you even...
Yeah, anybody who...
To be that much to be on there. Like, I can't imagine anything to make me want to spend that much on a video game that I know is not even going to be 2 hours long, and it's not even a game.
Yeah.
It's just text. The first 8 minutes is a Star Wars scroll, unskippable text. Why do I know this? I watched some person who put it up on YouTube for free. I'm not going to try to play this game. Like, nothing about it sounds interesting. But, so yeah, I guess if you just want some, you know... propaganda for your eyeballs at a steep price tag, there you go. The Hidden and Unknown on Steam. I guess it's still on Steam. I haven't checked to see if it's been removed or anything.
I feel like we get enough propaganda on news outlets and whatever. So,
but I don't think we wanted them in our games.
We don't need games to be political.
Games.
Whatever.
They don't want it. But yeah, I did try to read an article about it where they legit were trying to talk to the developer to kind of be like, so what is all this, you know? And it just sounds like this person's just kind of far on the conspiracy end of things.
Obviously.
But I don't know. I just think the price tag was just to get people talking because there's nothing about what is contained within that game that would remotely come close to that price.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think of all the AAA games that actually puts out stuff and they're only wanting 70, like who the fuck you think you are, man? Like I don't think it was to sell games. I just really don't. Like who's gonna buy it? I don't know. I know you said you had some thoughts about it that you were saving for the pod in the Discord because you always like to withhold certain conversations from me. So
yeah, no, I
didn't know if you had anything to say, but I think it's just more about like men's rights and human cycle and how the population's going to die off because you men aren't men enough or something. I don't know.
I mean, if you are that insecure about your own masculinity and all this other stuff, and that you have to make a $2,000 video game to just whine about it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah. It just didn't seem like there was, and nothing of value was made that day.
Yeah.
But your money has value, and you should just keep that. That just wow, just the price tag alone. I'm like, who are you, dude? But I don't know. So just don't be a soy boy. There, I've saved you 2K.
Ooh. Harsh words.
That's the lesson here. And so there you go. I've saved you $2,000 by giving you that truth bomb from the game. There you go. But that's all I got. What you got?
I got a story.
You got a story?
I got a story. This one I kind of came up with last minute, but I think it's going to be a little shorter, but it's fine. I don't really feel like I need to go into the nuts and bolts of it all, and there's reasons. But anyway, hey, you know what I want to talk about? Baseball.
Ooh, okay.
Baseball, America's
American
pastime, as they call it, or at least that's what I've always heard.
I think we're the one place that plays that.
Yeah, I know they've tried it in other countries, but
for some reason, it's just like how soccer didn't really hit as hard here as other places. Baseball didn't hit other places. Well, anyway, your story. Baseball.
They call it football over there. We're gonna make our own football.
That's true.
Made of pigs.
We did. I still don't know why we couldn't have just called that something else.
Because it's football.
Well, football for soccer actually makes sense. You and your feet, for Christ's sake.
We couldn't call it handball because then they think we're gay. And can't have that.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't love or hate baseball. I've played it. I've watched a little.
Been to games. It's more fun to just go to the stadium with friends. But
I've actually heard that, to actually just go to a game. I mean, you don't have to really like the game. You can just
I've never really watched
hang
it.
out.
Yeah.
I don't care. Anyway, you may be asking yourself, why the fuck is he talking about baseball? Well, that is a valid point. And it's really the only lead-in I could come up with for this story. but it's not for nothing. Yeah. It's not for nothing because it does kind of weave into the story, even if it's by loose association. Now, if we look to the indie market, as we were just talking about, we can
indie teams hard at work.
Right. We can see a plethora of game developers who grew up playing video games, all with a dream of making their very own. Like this asshole who created this $2,000 propaganda machine.
I'm sure he worked really hard on it.
He probably did not. These developers could be college students working in their spare time. Just making saying, I'm going to do this, but I'm also going to do my studies and I'm going to do my work. And we're just, working hard. Good for them. And then there could be some kids who had the means to do something and they just kind of learned what they needed to do to make the game and they did it themselves. They didn't go to college. They were just working hard to do what they love. Mm-hmm. But on occasion, much like the story we were just talking about, we see people with the means and desire to do it, but they don't understand anything else about video games.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the person at the center of our story today. Now, going back to late December of 2005, Major League Baseball player Curt Schilling had an idea that he pitched to his family. He's a huge fan of MMORPGs, and he thought, what if I could do that? And then he was looking for some business advice. I want to make WoW is essentially what he was thinking. I want to do that.
Yeah. How hard could it be?
How hard could it be? Exactly. How hard is video game?
Right.
He took the idea to 6 of his friends and told them about this desire to form a video game studio and was kind of looking to them to be potential partners. The idea was to create a game in the vein of World of Warcraft to, quote, make Bill Gates level money. Now, do you see the problem here?
Your already motivation starting off wrong. Yeah.
But clearly this was a man born to lead a video game studio because the motives are right there. In 2006, Schilling and his friends leased some office space in Maynard, Massachusetts, and announced the creation of Green Monster Games, a name that only lasted 6 months before becoming 38 Studios. Why 38 Studios? Well, Schilling said that it was to better represent the company's goals, whatever the fuck that means.
By having 38 companies? Okay. All right. No, I could tell. There's more.
Oh, yeah, because the number 38 was his number in Major League Baseball. So I feel like this is a way to say, this is mine now.
His lucky number?
Yeah, this is mine. It's my number, my studio, mine.
Okay.
Put a stamp on
wait, is
it.
the name 38 Studios, or was there
Yes.
legit
No,
38
no, no.
Studios?
No, it was
Maybe
just
that's where I'm confused.
38 Studios was the
was
name.
the name of it. Okay.
And
I legit thought you were talking about he split into 38 studios, and I'm like, Jesus H. Christ, what the fuck are you doing?
no, to be named after his number,
I gotcha.
even though I don't feel like that represents everybody else who was supposed to be a partner in this thing, whatever. Regardless of that, the studio was hard at work trying to build a new company to get it started on their very first game. Okay, they got the name, they got the buildings, now it's time to make a game. And one of the smart business decisions they did was to hire folks who actually knew about the gaming industry. So you had former employees from EA, Sony Online Entertainment, and a few others that kind of joined in the fray. Then in May of 2009, 38 Studios acquired Big Huge Games, whose best-known work at the time was a real-time strategy game called Rise of Nations, which is what you want when you're building an MMORPG.
Right, yeah. No, that sounds like we're
starting
to get somewhere.
Yeah. The company was bought from THQ, who was unloading several assets during 2009's Great Recession. You remember that thing? I do.
Yeah.
But this was a thing to help 38 Studios along. Now things could really begin, okay? Now was the moment. But you may have noticed that I kind of jumped ahead 2 full years, and there was nothing in that 2 years. Nothing was being made.
Okay.
How do you go from 2007 to 2009 forming this company to make games, and you don't make a game or anything remotely resembling anything in 2 years?
Yeah.
It
Sounds fishy.
Yeah, a little bit. A video game studio not making video games is kind of like a restaurant without food. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter anymore because now they have the means to make a video game. They actually have a studio, people who made a video game.
What?
And now they're going to make the video game. It took them 2 years, but by God, they're here now. And they're going to make this MMORPG, even though they never made an MMORPG. They made real-time strategy games, but it doesn't matter. They make a video game, and they're going to make a video game.
They push the buttons, make things move on screen.
So anyway, they got people who can make video game. So they decided that now it's not the time to dick around anymore. We're going to do what needs to happen. And you'd think making no money over a few years kind of put a strain on your company finances, Mm-hmm. You're not really making anything, you're just spending for 2 years. So Schilling thought this would be a good idea to look for more investors, sink their dollars into his growing money pit.
Mm-hmm.
But who would be so naive to think this was a good idea after seeing how the initial business plan just kind of floundered for several years, right?
Right.
Well, sometimes...
Like nothing to show for it to show an investor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need the naive, but the desperate. Enter Republican Rhode Island Governor Don Carceri.
Oh, boy.
Now, it seemed in 2010, Rhode Island was in steep economic turmoil, which had only gotten worse thanks to the aforementioned, I don't know why I can't speak, recession.
Yeah.
Unemployment was 4th worst in the nation for Rhode Island.
Ooh.
And 3 of their cities were on the verge of bankruptcy.
Ooh.
So Carceri needed a miracle for his state. And the world gave him Kurt Schilling.
Oh, God. I'm starting to, get the feels over this. Okay, go ahead.
So the two met at a fundraiser. And when the conversation turned to business ventures, Schilling wooed Carceri, telling him about his little company that was trying to grow and had the potential to be this big, massive studio.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, the problem was, at least according to Schilling, Massachusetts, man, they were just so unwilling to help him financially to expand this business. And It's just so frustrating. They just don't understand what he was trying to do. And they refuse to help. And this was his born native state. At least I think that was kind of the whole thing, is that Massachusetts, he was born and bred Bostonian.
I'm a job creator,
you know? And it's like, they're not helping me out over here. So he gets, I don't know why I went New Yorker either. We're talking about Boston, you know?
Yes.
And he's like, they're not helping me. I don't know how he sounds. So if there was only a way that he could expand his company without having to deal with Massachusetts, because they're so unreasonable up there.
Not willing to help their citizens at all.
Well, wouldn't you know it? Carceri was more than happy to extend an invitation to Rhode Island, where he could possibly look at the possibility of being a possible business there, and maybe convincing other local politicians that this grand plan to become the new Gil Bates would be beneficial because money. So he come in with big company. We give him money, he make more money, and we all survive.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like it.
And boy, did they work over the state, because so many were just like, done, let's do it. And they gave Schilling $75 million in bonds to relocate 38 studios in Providence and make his multi-million-dollar MMORPG. This was going to be the thing to turn Rhode Island around.
Yeah, okay.
Things were looking pretty positive for 38 Studios. They actually had a game in development. Kingdoms of...
Oh, they did?
Yeah, Kingdoms of...
Started it?
Amalur. Yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which had actually been underwritten and promised to be published by EA. So they had, something going for it. And that's all well and good. But, Schilling realized that to really do this game justice, he's going to need another $100 million. And maybe a few extra years to make the game, because you just... It's a lot that goes on.
Games are harder.
Games are hard. We were kind of thinking that, it was going to move along a little faster, but damn, just a few more years and a couple of $100 million, and we'll be fine. And then the money train's going to come in, baby. We just
that $10 a month money, baby.
Yeah. So we just needed to get there, and for some reason, Carceri felt good about this. He was a former businessman. He understands risks. And in no way would baseball player Curt Schilling let down a fellow conservative like himself.
Sure, right.
They stick together. They look out for one another. They don't turn on each other.
He's helping a small business.
Right.
Yeah.
He's helping the little guy. That's what they do.
It is.
Now, I can spin a yarn, tell you whatever you want to hear, giving you the outcome that sounds so positive, but I'm not a spinster like some people. I'm here to report facts, damn it. Yeah. And unlike Curt Schilling, who was blowing smoke up so many asses you think their heads would have become chimneys, he, was a shit-ass person. And believe it or not, 38 Studios was in dire straits. Who'd have thought?
What?
Even the company's own financial portfolio manager saw red flags. The company's worst case scenario involved a projection of releasing a few successful video games every 2 years.
Okay.
That was their worst case scenario.
I feel
think about it.
Good case, but okay.
No, but
you're actually releasing. Okay, maybe I'm not thinking of it right.
Think about it. Your worst case scenario for this company is you're going to be able to release a successful video game every 2 years. One video game every 2 years.
Okay.
Probably in the same vein as this Kingdoms of Amalur that he couldn't even get done in 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
AAA sized. Right. World of Warcraft size. you wanted to release one of those every 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Yeah, there's your, yeah.
See it?
Maybe you should understand the business a little bit. And how many people does he have? 6?
Small group. Couple hundred, maybe. But not,
at this point? Okay.
I may be being generous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
was trying to think of the time frame, too, because I was like, they could shove games out in 6 months or so back in the day, you know? And I was like, how?
Well, we're in
WoW size.
2010-ish.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the same man, the company portfolio manager, sent an email to them, to the bosses, saying, quote, I don't think I can support a $75 million guarantee to any single company in this industry due to the wide volatility in commercial success of video games. Okay? Perhaps, just a thought, we should develop a toolbox of incentives, including loan guarantees, to attract companies into a cluster and not rely on a single company to build the cluster around.
Okay.
You know, sounds like some decent financial jargon that maybe I don't understand
Getting
fully.
more people involved in this mess.
but perhaps more companies and then they can kind of level the boat or whatever instead of just watching it sink.
Let's keep moving our assets around. Sure.
Yeah. Well, they didn't like his assessment and they buried it. They threw it in the trash and were just like, nope, don't want to hear any of that. But funny enough, wouldn't you know it, there were other people in state and federal legislation that saw red flags too. And they were just like, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. I think this is going to backfire.
But he's going to make Bill Gates money.
Right. Gil Bates money.
Gil Bates money.
Did anyone listen? No. Those concerns fell on deaf ears. And what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong?
I mean, yeah.
Well, let me tell you. Bankruptcy, that's what. Because Schilling was so confident that Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was going to be this huge, massive success.
Yeah.
That he'd been burning through the company's finances.
Well, sure.
Millions per month. Think about that.
For his boat?
For whatever.
Like the actual game?
For whatever.
Oh, Jesus.
So soon after its launch, it was clear it was not going to be the success he hoped for. Yeah. Even though, and if you think about it at the time, what would be considered a success, it sold about 1.3 million copies.
So it released.
Yeah, it released, it sold, but it wasn't the big success. I think he was expecting like hundreds of thousands of millions of copies.
Sure, yeah.
The company filed for bankruptcy in April of 2012. Leaving Rhode Island more fucked than it was before.
Yeah.
Because all jobs that were created from this venture were now gone, which means unemployment rates went right back up. Those employees were stuck with expenses because some of them had to move to Rhode Island.
Oh, God.
And now they were being fucked out of their money because the company didn't have money to pay them.
And now the state has to take care of them, too.
Yes, because the state was now stuck with the bill that naturally led to all this disaster, and they can't get their money back. So then they sue, because, you know, that's going to help. Schilling refused to take the blame.
Wow.
It's everybody else's fault. They didn't understand, like, he was trying to make a video game.
Leader does.
Okay. He was trying to make video game. They did not understand what it took to make video game.
Are you sure his name's not Ives?
You'd think, but it's not.
No.
So he pointed fingers at the dissenters, the people who didn't believe in him, because they're to blame. And like most people in this situation, he settled out of court.
Yeah.
Only paid back $16 million of the $75, even though
more than I would have thought.
Even though they did get about $61 million back, but that was due to other settlements within the overall lawsuit. So he just cut 16 out of the 61. He didn't even take full responsibility for the whole thing. Because why would he? They just didn't understand his grand master plan. And if that wasn't enough, the individuals who got fucked over on their pay, they just got 14 to 20% of their expected back pay in August of 2021. Okay?
They had to wait 10 years, basically, to get their money.
And not even all of it.
Oh, my God.
So it makes you feel good to see how well they take care of the little guy so quickly.
Well, yeah.
So what can we learn from this story? Well, I'd say AAA corporations learned a lot from Curt Schilling because they saw his big game plan to make all the money, and they just ironed out the kinks.
Right.
You know, it's just like, okay, well, what he was on to something here, but we can do it better.
Well, we got people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So let's.
And we don't have to pay them all that well. We can make all the money.
Right.
You know, he had the idea. He had the foresight to really come up with what a good AAA studio could be.
Just not a good enough boss to know how to hire the right people to make it happen. Yeah.
He could have been, 38 Studios could have been Activision Blizzard before Activision Blizzard became what they are today. And they just, he dropped the ball, you know.
He just couldn't make it happen. Yeah.
No. So if anything, regular baseball playing conservative and Breitbart pundit Curt Schilling showed the gaming industry that you just need to be a man with a plan. And that plan is money. You don't need video game know-how to make your video games. You just need to know, like, one person. and you just need to inspire others to just believe in what you're doing, trick them into investing in your idea. And then when it doesn't make the money you wanted it to, you just blame other people for their failures because it wasn't you.
And that's continued. AAA learned that also and went, you know what? That's kind of nice, not blaming me.
Mm-hmm. And see, this is the story I was trying to tell you. The first AAA game studio head that inspired so many, like Bobby Kotick and Andrew Wilson, all these wonderful... I can't even finish the sentence. Fuck them. There you go.
I was trying to be sarcastic, and even that made you gag.
Yeah, it did. It did. But there you go. Clear as mud. That's what it is.
Jeez, man. Woof. Mm-hmm. I was wondering, like, if he was trying to make a baseball game.
No.
That's where I thought maybe you were going at first. And I was like, is this how we got EA's every year baseball game? I don't know.
But, you know, that would have been the thing you'd think that would have been easier to do is make a baseball game. He could have pumped one of those out every year.
You really could. It's just updating the date, maybe a player here, but you're probably still using some assets that are exactly the same.
See, he could have funded the whole thing right there and been like, we're going to make a special video game. It could be Curt Schilling's 38 Studios Baseball. And, you know, because that sounds about as clever as anything else he came up with. And you pump one of those out every year. There's your moneymaker. And you just reskin it or polish it a little bit every year. And then you take the profits from that and then you put it into your MMO RPG. But I don't want
people who know how to make those things.
Right. But I don't want to give him any ideas.
That's probably problem one to solve.
Sure. You think?
Well, no. Okay, problem two maybe. You do need the money to find the people, but yeah, you need people who knows how to make a video game.
It would help.
Excellent. Well, fun. That's our show.
Woo.
Thank you for hanging out with us again, siblings. We never leave you lack of content.
Never.
You can hit us up sometime over on Twitter at Super Mega Crash, or even go to Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. You can send us an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com and support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app. And you can even go to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. Or if you want more than just podcasting fun, head over to youtube.com/pencil and paper productions for just more fun stuff to watch. And come join our Discord. Come chat with us. Links are in the description down below. Thank you for listening. I'm Lacey Finley.
I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.